I got a request to do a video about what I would do if I came up with $1 million. Oh man, this is a question that has actually already almost come to pass in my life. And actually, when I was a kid, when I was 13 years old, ABC had this game show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It was the first game show to really offer $1 million. And I was obviously too young to get on the show, but I would call their toll-free number and try to sign up at anybody over 18 that I knew. And I would ask them what they would do with $1 million. And I got a lot of crazy answers. You got to understand, my friends were 18, 19, 20. Well, they had all sorts of crazy ideas on what to do with $1 million. But I had one friend who was the craziest. He actually ended up getting on the show. He had a website about the show, and he had called and gotten in on the show. And I asked him what he would do with the money, and he confessed that he was stealing cable television at his apartment complex. And that once he won the money, he could stop stealing cable and pay his cable bill. And it was really funny, but it was so honest that it was just crazy. And so we had just witnessed Y2K not long before he got on this show, and I calculated that he could pay his bill long enough for us to go see Y3K at his apartment. Around the same time, I was also starting to eat healthier food, and so the idea of seeing Y3K was also on my mind for that reason. So it was a good story. Now looking back, but about the more recent concept of having a large amount of wealth. When I was working on my PhD, I was working in a field called computational social choice theory. But I felt it was a compromise. I loved it, but my real passion was in another field called Ramsey theory. And around the same time, the US was in a mess. The mortgage meltdowns, stock market crashing, the US dollar losing a lot of value. And so I came up with this plan. I would marry a girl from another country and gain her citizenship and her universal health care and move there and retire and work on Ramsey theory. That was all I wanted to talk about after the mortgage meltdown. I don't think I quite had enough to retire yet at that time, but I was starting to accumulate some savings, and I was thinking once I had a good 100,000, there were probably a whole list of countries I could move to and retire. And that was my, for a long time, that was my retirement plan because I hated what I was doing. Every day, I didn't hate computational social choice theory. I hated the fact that I had to interact with other people. And I still feel that way today. The day I get to retire is the day I'm finally free from having to interact with others. I'm most at home just by myself. I recently traveled to Montana, and I actually almost got into a fight because I had stopped at a grocery store and somebody wanted to help me look for something, and I had to hold myself back, but I felt I could have exploded on him right there and then. And I still feel that way about many jobs that I've done in recent years. I might like the work, but I really, really hate the fact that I have to interact with others. You also have to understand, though, I have some food allergies and chemical allergies, and just having to be around people who might use these things is also a problem. I mean, I usually deal with it pretty okay, but it's another challenge that I have to deal with that just sits in the background of my typical day. Even at my apartment, sometimes I have to deal with that too. But it sits in the background and adds to work that actually has to be done. Is what I'm trying to say. Um, anyways, nothing lavish. If I really did come up with $1 million, I probably wouldn't be able to do much with 1 million unless that girl also comes up. So I nearly completed that. I nearly executed that retirement plan actually. The problem is that the girl, she wanted children, and I didn't quite have enough to support myself and her, and also two children. And also, I wouldn't have the time to write computer games. So that was that. I still like the concept of eventually leaving the United States. So there are a lot of things here that I very much disagree with. I think Americans live for the moment. A lot of Americans, they don't have a concept of tomorrow. It seems like. The other problem is that I see so many people who for example, I was talking to a former classmate of mine, and I was really envious of how much vacation time he got at his job. And I asked him what he wanted to do with it, and his first idea was to go to Las Vegas. And my heart just sank. You know, I don't know why we just love all these sins here in America. You know, when I went to Gdansk Bay in Poland, uh, to look for my future wife, and so I could execute that retirement plan pretty much, but also to enjoy vacation. I didn't see that many Americans there. There were a lot of Asian people. There were a lot of people from Western Europe. A few people from India. I didn't see that many Americans. You can't really get around very easily speaking English over there. You might meet a few people from the UK, but then they'll hear your accent. You know, they probably don't like Americans either. So uh, that's why I'm actually trying to teach myself Polish right now in order to execute that retirement plan and also to just to meet somebody I'd like, you know, retirement or not, you know. Anyways, so the whole point is nothing too lavish, and I already gave it some thought because of the issue with the Ramsey theory and later on writing the computer games. Thanks for watching.